Good afternoon and welcome to this NetSuite Planning and Budgeting webinar. This is part 3 of a series of 3 webinars that we've been showing over the past couple of weeks. My name is Campbell McLeish and I'm the Head of Sales and Marketing at Nolan Business Solutions. I'm joined this afternoon by Mahdi, who's the Account Executive at NetSuite Planning and Budgeting, and it'll be Mahdi who will be carrying out today's webinar and demo on NetSuite Planning and Budgeting. So today's webinar is 30 minutes long and Mahdi will be running through the what-if planning within the NetSuite Planning and Budgeting tool. And as I've already said, this is the third webinar in a 3-part series, so the final one. The recordings of the other 2 are available on the Nolan Business Solutions website. So please head on over there to check those out. And there'll be links at the end of this for going to those webinars as well. So you can wait till the end and you can find the links to part 1 and part 2. So I will pass over to Mahdi, who's going to go through the what-if planning and NetSuite Planning and Budgeting.
Thank you very much for the introduction. As mentioned, my name is Mahdi Abbas and I am the NetSuite Planning and Budgeting Account Executive. I'll be running through today's session around what-if scenario planning and a few of our dashboard capabilities and assumptions that are in the background that will help with your what-if scenario planning. If there are any questions, obviously feel free to pop them into the questions panel, and we do have a Q&A session at the end if anyone does want to go into any more detail. So starting off, we wanted to make sure that this safe harbor statement is put forward. Everything that you'll be seeing in today's demonstration slides will be specifically what's currently in the solution at the moment. We will not be talking about any future updates in today's session. So what is NetSuite Planning and Budgeting? We are the industry-leading FP&A solution that is natively integrated integrated with NetSuite, but it's also based on Oracle's Hyperion and Essbase technology, which means that we are the market leader, which means that we will be going into that in a second. But beyond that, what does NetSuite Planning and Budgeting do for each organization? So it allows for trend and driver-based revenue and expense forecasting, working capital, workforce planning, financial forecasting around your P&L, cash flow and balance sheet, and much, much more, as it's able to pull data from multiple different sources, like the integrations that we've created with Nolan for their integration with their other solution, Microsoft. Beyond that, it does give better forecasting accuracy with predictive planning. And as you'll see in today's session, it's easy to compare what-if scenarios to improve strategic decision-making. And it sits on the world's most robust Microsoft Office integration. So not only will it link to PowerPoint and to Word, but it'll also integrate with Excel via Smart View is what we call our integration for those ad hoc reporting needs and to automatically update your management report pack. So for those who don't know, what is Hyperion? Oracle acquired Hyperion back in 2007 for $3.3 billion. They immediately became the leader in EPM, so Enterprise Performance Management Solutions. And this was very much a land and expand strategy from Oracle to work against SAP, who only had an offering around general ledgers and ERPs at the time. As you can see here within the Gartner Magic Quadrant report, which was the last one produced as of May 2020, we sit in the top right-hand corner on the furthest right-hand side of the leaders circle. So we are the market leader within this area. A quick snapshot of our customers to date since we launched NetSuite Planning and Budgeting just around 4 years ago now. So we have more than 850 customers across more than 35 different industries, across more than 40 countries, with more than 12,000 users. Now this is a snapshot from April 2020, so we've actually got more than 1,000 users and more than 1,000 customers and across more than 15,000 users. So after being a customer of ours for 12 months, we have the Oracle Value EPM survey and the Oracle Value Index team who do a review on how NetSuite Planning and Budgeting has changed the way that you do your forecasting and reporting process. And here's the general information that we're getting from customers, that there's a 15% improvement in forecasting accuracy, 27% increase in value-added analysis, 53% improved communication and collaboration between teams, meaning that you will not have to manually update everyone's departmental budgets, as they can upload their own with having a user access code to NetSuite Planning and Budgeting. A 28% increase in rolling forecasts, but let's talk about the reduction. So there's also a 44% reduction in 44% reduction in time spent to produce the management reporting, and a 71% reduction in the use of spreadsheets for budgeting to date. So, which I think is very, very powerful, as you're not having to constantly manually produce your own management reports. A customer like you who's gone through a similar process is UniPlaces. Just to give you a bit of background, UniPlaces is an online marketplace established back in 2011 that allows booking for student accommodation and serves more than 250,000 students across more than 150 countries. The reason why they looked at planning and budgeting is they received Series A funding back in 2016 and 2017 to scale up with further expansion. As a part of this expansion, they needed to be more precise and yet flexible with their financial planning and day-to-day budgeting, and quickly realized that this could no longer be done using spreadsheets alone. Jonathan Child was our champion over at UniPlaces and was a part of the full project from purchase all the way to implementation. And here's what he had to say 12 months after being a customer. Faster reporting equals quicker decisions. Actuals now make sense to stakeholders, which I think is probably the most powerful statement in this line here. They're able to track costs in a more efficient and effective way so that they're able to understand more about their costs. The ability to slice and dice using in Excel using SmartView has been incredibly powerful. There's much more secure data, which reduces risk and provides confidence in the numbers. And then finally, it's much easier for Jonathan and his team to do their jobs. Now, moving forward, let's move on to our planning and budgeting demo, which is around our what-if modeling rather than workforce, which was last week, so apologies for that. As you can see here, we've got our what-if modeling, what-if analysis, and auto-predict, which I'll get into in a second. But what I wanted to just point out to everybody who's attending today's session is that you'll notice that I'm logged in today as an administrator. You'll also notice that we've got a couple of announcements. These can also be set as tasks to do. So these can be left from our FD, our CFO, or even a financial analyst who's passing on other tasks for the rest of the team to do. So if we click into the announcements to see what information our CFO has left us, is that we will need to review the revenue assumptions and increase revenue in FY21 by 5%. The CFO requests that we adjust the budget to include 10% reduction in operation expenses for the coming fiscal year, being FY21, and that we need to review accounts receivable and accounts payable assumptions to update the balance sheet and cash flow. Now, beyond that, we do have our recents and our favorites tab. You'll notice within our recents that we've got a full audit trail of who's been in the system. So you can see that I was in employee details and employee statuses earlier today, as there's a time and date stamp. So a complete audit trail that's behind each and every change within the system. You'll also notice that there's a little star button. This just means that we're able to move these to our favorites, meaning that we've got a very quick and easy step process for our day-to-day needs. So if we're looking at our P&L or income statement, if we're looking at our OPEX by department, and that's something that's within my job remit and having to do on a daily basis, then our favorite tabs is a very quick and easy way to do so. Now, just before I get into the what-if modeling, I also wanted to touch on some of the dashboarding capabilities beyond what we'll see in the what-if modeling as well. So I've just clicked into the second button here at the top, which is our CXO view or KPI infolets. Now, what these are card-based cluster dashboards that are made from drag and drop editors that are able to display dashboards specifically on any and all data that's coming into NSPB. So it can be financial, operational, project-based, sales-based. It's really dependent on what type of KPIs or metrics you want visualized. You'll also notice that they're all completely hoverable, so we can hover over and understand what the data is in each part of our KPI infolets. They're also expandable. So you can see here, I'm looking at my income statement, budget trends. I can hover over all of them and see really where the information lies. I can flip the card over. So I'm now looking at my actual trends rather than my budget trends. Or I can expand across it even further and look at my actuals versus budgets for my income statement or P&L. Okay, now let's go back to our home screen. And what I want to do from here is my what if modeling. So if I go to what if modeling and what if analysis, what you'll notice is that I've got a range of what ifs that I've done already. So I've got what if 1, 2, and 3 here. What if 1 is our worst case if we were to lose revenue by 10% and increase OPEX by 7% to look at our worst case. Our best case is a 33% increase in sales with a 20% decrease in operational expenses. And then what if 3 is a 20% increase in sales and a 10% increase in OPEX expenses. So we're really working out the key deliverables there and what that might be. So the way that you'd create a new what if scenario is by clicking the save button here in the top left hand side. We can choose exactly which what if we want to do. So let's say we want to change number 3. Push OK. Now these are the specific parameters that we've put into our what if scenario analysis for our operational expenses and revenue. But if you obviously want to have more parameters based on the life cycle or longevity of a specific product, whether it's working across your forecast rather than your budget scenario, whether you're including headcount or any other parameter that you'd like to have in, what we would do is we would discuss this through with you during the scoping stage and include all of these parameters here. They can also you can also change them in-house as well, but just to make you aware of how we can make those changes. So let's say we are going with a 5% increase in expenses, and let's go with a 15% increase in revenue. Simply push the launch button, and within a matter of seconds, the system is working the calculations to create a new what if based off the parameters that we've set below. And as you can see, rather than days, weeks, or months to create this what if, this has happened within a matter of seconds. So we can see our what if 3 here, and we can see the very big differentiators between what if 1, what if 2, and what if 3 based on the information that we've provided. You can see that we've got a range of different dashboards that we're able to expand upon. So these are the other dashboards that we're able to visualize all of our data across, which is running through the entire fiscal year. If we want to review the information in a slightly different way, we can just go to our settings option. We can change our line graph to a bar graph quite quickly. And then we can close that down and we can really see where the differentiators lie. Now, obviously, this is a change that I've made, so this is only going to be effective for me. It won't be effective for the rest of effective for the rest of the organization. This will change per person, per user login. Now, if we go to our auto predict, this is really where we'll understand a bit more about the underlying background of details. So we can see here that we're looking in our point of view. Our currency is USD. The subsidiary is the United States. Our class is C. The location is US1. We're looking at the tracker, which is at load. But we're also looking at our line items from our accounts, which are sales product line 1. and we're looking specifically at how that's affecting the sales department, of which we can now see all of our SKUs below across each of our total customers and what those active prediction, what the actuals are and against those active numbers. We've got our base prediction here, our worst case and our best case at what the changes will be in our overall cost per line item per cost. And we can move forward to look at the budget and what budget we've set for the next year. So we can see that, for instance, our base prediction is just a little bit below our active budget, but our best case is far exceeding it. And beyond that, we've got our variables thereafter. So we can see our budget versus base prediction, our budget versus worst case, budget versus best case. So these are some of the initial predictions and assumptions that come up from our what if analysis. We've also got our budget versus predictions dashboard. So again, it's just giving us a very good visualization and a consolidated version of the similarities to the previous sheet that we were looking at. So we've got our inventory items against all of our customers, whether they be our enterprise, mid-market or SMB. This will obviously change per company and per customer based on the different lines of distributions. So whether, for instance, you're a retailer working with the likes of eBay and Amazon, or whether you're working with different third-party companies that are also selling your products. Now, if I click further down, you will see the auto predict version 2, which is going again against each individual line item, but now we're looking at total customer across our actuals and our forecast, and we can really see the seeded money that we have against our base forecast and any adjustments that we're planning against thereafter, which I do believe on our total plan will then come up to what we had figured for our budget. So we're really looking at the adjustments to work out what the budget plan is thereafter. Okay. So that's pretty much everything within the what if scenario analysis. Campbell, would you like anything else to be depicted within this this portion of the demo, or would you like us to go into our slides?
Yeah, if you go into your slides, I've got a couple of questions after you've shown those slides. That'd be great.
That's perfect, because after this, we are now going into our Q&A session. So, Campbell, whatever those questions are, free to ask away.
Sure. So I know previously we've spoken about the costings per month and per user and such, but is there a minimum number of users that are required?
There are not. The minimum number of users are one. Okay. You need to buy the solution and at least one user for it to be able to use it. Okay. But obviously, we do understand that finance departments come in teams. We do understand as well that you might want to start small to begin with. So you might look at one or two to begin with per your organization. But if you're a larger organization, you might want a couple of contributor licenses for the different departments that are also contributing to budget. So you might need, say, one user per department. You might have 5 departments within your organization. So in total, you might need 6 or 7 users as a whole. So it doesn't matter how low you start. We will scale with your organization as your company is scaling.
Great. And is that scaling? Can you just add a user month on month, or do you have to wait for the annual to come in, or how does that work?
No, you can add a user month on month if that's what you like to do.
Excellent. Great. And then sort of say you get an inquiry in and someone wants to sort of the next steps, as it were, for purchasing NSPB. Is it a sort of a scoping session with one of your consultants to sort of act upon what is the next stage, as it were?
So the next stage after today's webinar, for instance, your customers or prospects would reach out to you, in which they'd say that they'd like to understand more about NSPB. Mm-hmm. Then we would arrange a discovery call to understand really what their requirements are and what they're looking to do within this fiscal year. What has changed and what really is of key interest for them based on what they may have seen so far, the workforce planning, the what if scenarios, and so on. Once we have those requirements and that information, we would tailor a demo specific to that organization, what they're looking to do moving forward. And then the next step would be a scoping call to scope out the project, of which we would then be able to provide a price for the implementation costs.
Excellent. Thanks, Mahdi, for that. Gone through the what-if scenarios within NetSuite planning and budgeting. Just a couple of bits and pieces here from Nolan's point of view. Please connect with us. You can find out more information about all the updates that we have with NetSuite, as we are a NetSuite reseller, as well as any of the products that are associated with it, such as NetSuite planning and budgeting. We're posting bits and pieces on our blog posts on LinkedIn, on Twitter. So please use the links and the titles there to follow us on those means. If you want to find out more, please get in touch. My telephone number is 01252 811 663, or send an email through to sales@nolanbusinesssolutions.com. This is the third part of the three-part series of the webinar. All three webinars are available on the Nolan's website. So if you head over to nolanbusinesssolutions.com, there's a link at the top for resources, and within resources, there's all the videos that you can see. So you can watch back on what Mahdi was going on previously, which was the benefits of NetSuite planning, budgeting, the workforce planning, and the what-ifs that you've just seen today. So this will be made available at a later stage this week. But from me, I just want to say many thanks. Thank you, Mahdi, for your time, for coming on and showing us the NetSuite planning and budgeting. And thank you those that attended for their time as well. So if you've got any further questions, please just send them through, and we'll be more than happy to answer those. But have a great day and stay safe.
Thank you so much. Bye now.